Due to the ignorance of our host, parental discretion is advised.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the other side of the Beehive, episode 197, our Halloween episode. I know, Brian, please put some scary stuff there.
That's
not,
our
by the way,
producer, but he's not here, so.
Okay.
not the
Brian.
not the thriller laugh, because that's overdone, right?
No.
Everybody, yeah. That's a shout out to Will Wonder. We're sitting here with the one and only Tré Lamb.
Hey.
We haven't had we've had a crush on you since the first time
crush.
we saw you.
Oh, stop. Come on, man.
I saw you open for comedian, by the way. I saw you open for Santino
Yeah.
and Mark Norman.
Yeah. Well, I mean, hosted for Santino, and then that Norman show, it was just the one night I got that guest spot.
Is it a Saturday? 'Cause that's one night.
Yeah, that was the only show I did that whole week. I was supposed to only film that weekend.
Oh, really?
I was only there to film him, but then just from hanging out with him in the green room, chatting, on the last day, he was like, "You wanna do a spot?" And
I
was
did.
like, well, yeah.
I did. So I heard your the first episodes of the Deadbeat Son.
Deadbeat Son.
Oh yeah, thank you.
Now
Yeah,
is that on? Because I'm actually catching up with them. But is that on? Is it a podcast or it's just video for now?
It's on Spot. I got it on Spotify
On
too.
Spotify,
Yeah, it's
okay.
going on Spotify. Working on getting on Apple as well, but for now, YouTube and Spotify is primarily.
It was such a bitch for us to get on Apple. Remember that?
It was tough.
Apple
That
was
took
like
forever, dude.
Apple
It took
was the
forever.
last people that say okay.
Well, because you have to prove all this, proof of concept and all that.
Yeah.
And it's like I got nothing. Like,
Yeah. I remember we started this and we were like everywhere, and then all of a sudden it's like, well, what about Apple? And I was like, I don't know.
yeah.
And then finally, all of a sudden, out of the blue, it's like, your podcast is on, and we were like episode 9, 10. I was like,
Yeah.
damn, dude, it took forever.
I saw you, you opened up for Chappelle Lacey.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was a
I
fun
saw you
one,
then.
too.
That was the first time I'd seen you. And then again on Santino.
Okay.
And comedian fans, big wise guys. I mean, we love Keith.
Yeah.
He's been on the podcast. Shout out to Keith.
Shout out to
Praise to
Keith.
Keith.
Oh, look, we have do you see that? The CD?
The OG.
What's that?
That's Keith.
Oh, wow. Yeah, there he is.
Yeah.
What does it say?
It says to
Thanks to the other side of the
thanks to the other
Beehive.
side of the Beehive.
Oh yeah, we were just talking about this the other day.
Yeah, I know he made this happen. I know.
Sure,
Because the truth be told, we talked to Trey for a minute. We're like, dude, we would love to have you on the podcast. He was like, yeah, dude, whatever. Yeah, like get in line.
no,
Get
it
in
wasn't-
line.
Yeah.
And then hold on. And then this is truth be told.
So you'll get in
We're gonna
line.
roast you right now. And then I talked to Keith on last Saturday, and he's like, and I'm like, I'm trying to have Trey, and he goes, Tré Lamb? I'm like, yeah, and he goes, I'll make it happen. I'm like, oh, dude, are you serious? He goes, yeah. And then it so happened that I saw you at the end, of the show, and I was like, hey man, I know I've asked you before, and I don't, like, the last thing you want to do is like bother people, right? So it's like, hey, I don't want to bother you, but, and he was like, oh yeah, let's do it. And I was like, thank you, Keith. I was like, fuck yeah.
Well, yeah, man. I mean, the only reason why is because Fridays, and then I try to keep those open in case Keith needs me to go
absolutely.
host or something for a show, and it's like I can't make plan. It's hard to make plans on the weekend because I'll bail out like that for a show. Like if Mark Norman needed me or something, I'd be So then
Now, how does that work? Are you, like you say, you just open, but you literally just never know when you're gonna get the call?
not necessarily. Like, so sometimes if it's like before, like in the last year, say if it was somebody like I really liked and wanted to be on the show with, I would ask if I could get on the show, if I could host or something, and then just hope that I got on. And then other times it's just Keith just like, hey, do you want to do a spot? And then usually you get like a week's notice for those. If but then what I started doing is filming, right? I got good at that. I started just getting good at it for my sake, just for recording my sets and then uploading it and posting to Instagram and all that stuff. I got good at filming and got good at editing and audio and all that stuff. So I started just offering my services to wise guys and to headliners rolling through, like, hey, if you want your your set filmed. I got a good camera, shoots in, the good quality, all that kind of stuff. And so that kind of became my in for a while.
Oh, okay.
So, these people come through, they're like, hey, if you got any video guys, well, now I'm the video guy.
Right.
So then Keith would hit me up, hey, can you come film for so-and-so? I go, yeah, of course. And then he goes, oh, and I'll see if they need a host. Or he'd be like, oh, and can you host? So that would come secondary to even,
package deal.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So like I was only
2 chicks.
yeah.
2 chicks at the same time. Huh?
Come on now. So yeah, that was like all I cared about was doing the show. I just wanted to get to meet these people and work with them and perform. So the filming stuff was really just out of necessity and just trying to, so that's been really helpful to me,
Yeah.
And so I don't, nowadays I've kind of made a little bit of a name for myself around there.
Yeah.
So I'm like headlining sometimes here and there. But Keith will call me, like last weekend, he texted me on Friday. He's like, can you do shows this weekend,
Nice.
So then I went up and did them. So
Do you, so how long have you been doing this, by the way?
a little over 8 years now.
Stand up?
Yeah.
How old are you?
I'm 26.
Oh, wow.
So I started like the week after I finished high school. I was still 17, and there was a little coffee shop across the street from my high school, and it was over senior year where I realized, where I was like, I was so into comedy, but that was where the shift happened that I learned it could be done. Like you could go out and do it. I didn't, that's a tough connection to make. But then once that clicked, that's where so I went, did that for the first time, and then just never looked back, sort of deal. I mean, I've looked back. I mean, I shouldn't say that. I've definitely looked back, looked at myself, looked at my hands, saying, what the fuck am I doing?
Who did you really get into comedy-wise during that period?
Louis.
Ooh.
Dude, I mean, and I still, to this
Hot
day,
take.
man, to this day.
Just kidding.
Like Deontay Wilder, to this
he's
day,
a
man.
bad.
he's I know it's a controversial figure.
Is it anymore though?
I think in
he's
pop
the guy
culture,
that's
but not in comedy.
The phoenix that's right from the fucking the ashes.
You know
right?
what? For
You're right,
for
man.
pussies, yeah, he's still. I never stopped liking.
No, God no.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's
Exactly.
like, but I think it's. I think it
Dude, this
comes.
fucking thing is killing me, dude.
I'm just trying to make it so I clear the mic.
It's so great to be
What is that? What is that fucking Tom Cruise movie where they wear the mask, the dirty fucker, with him and his ex Nicole Kidman? What was that movie where they all wear stupid shit like this?
I know, yeah. I
Interview
can see
with
I can see the poster of the movie too.
Yeah.
But I can,
Anyway, continue.
Debbie does Dallas or whatever.
Angel does Alabama.
I know Alabama does Angel. Wait, hold on. What was I saying? God damn it.
Louis.
Yeah. Pussies. and
Yeah,
Louis.
so I think it comes from, and I was actually going to ask you this because I think it has to do with the different. I'm trying to put words together here. The different how people see comedy, right? Because some of them is like, well, I don't want to get. And I saw you say something like that on one of your videos. You're trying to say, oh, these people got offended, but they're getting offended in behalf of other people, right?
Yeah,
in behalf
yeah,
of
yeah.
other people.
Right.
Like you and I, the way you and I joke around, like you and I have I think you're probably one of the people that I have one of the strongest sense of humor with, and like if people could see our phones or how we talk behind doors, we'd probably,
This podcast would be canceled.
Yeah, we'd probably go
10 times over, right?
One of us says the N word all the time.
No, and that's not me. I promise. Look at me.
I do it when I'm
I
singing.
mean, look at you. You look like you would be. What are you talking about? What the hell? What are you talking about?
But yeah, so for me, I want to end up taking it off. You watch. So, but
No, you're doing great.
But for me, thanks. But for me, it's like I because I like that kind of. I mean, I understand what he did was bad, I guess.
Right,
because he and
Was it though? Was it though?
But you know why I'm saying this? Because he came out and apologized.
I understand that.
Right.
You know what I mean?
But if you were to go the list of bad things
yeah,
that you
for
could
sure,
do,
for sure.
that's like kindergarten.
Well,
Yeah.
coming off the heels of Weinstein, Cosby,
Right.
Yeah,
the real,
absolutely.
actual.
Yeah.
Do you think he got
criminals.
snowballed into all that bullshit?
He absolutely did, because he was coming in hot. He was like really peaking. That movie he was putting out was a little iffy. Yeah, exactly.
Well, he just had a movie with Joe List.
With Joe List, yeah.
Joe List is coming to town
Yeah,
too.
he is.
Everyone's,
Wait, hold on. Speaking of,
Yeah.
we're gonna be all over the place, obviously, because we're rock hardier here.
Welcome to the other side of the Beehive.
Hell yeah.
You just announced today that you're opening for Trevor Wallace.
Yeah.
Now, when is that again?
When is it?
Yeah.
That's November 18th at U of U.
Okay. So not why?
That big Trevor Wallace coming with. He's coming to a big fucking
Yeah,
arena.
it's at Kingsbury Hall.
Yeah.
It's like just under 2,000 people.
God damn.
Yeah. It's nuts. So, Trevor and I, we go back a little bit. When I was in college, in Santa Barbara, I was part of this comedy club, like a school club, but that put on shows every weekend at one of the lecture halls, right? And because it's Santa Barbara, it's only like an hour and a half-ish from LA, and it was funded by the school, so we could pay like a decent little check. So then it's not far from LA, so it's come headline a college, make $1,200, and then drive home that night. Why not, right? And then so it was like probably 2015, like 14, 15, I think 15, when Trevor was like just starting to get some real traction, and like right before he really blew up. But it was like the Kyle stuff, or not quite Kyle, Bryson, the Zoomies guy, like the Zoomies employee, it was that kind of stuff. So when he came to town and did our school, of course it was just packed. I got on the show, we just clicked, and then I opened for him while I was living in California, did some gigs in San Diego and Huntington Beach sort of deal. But he's super cool.
Is that where you're from, California?
Well, I'm originally from Winnipeg, Canada.
Oh, wow.
But I moved to San Diego. I moved to California when I was like 14, and then I lived there until I moved here.
Tell me you played hockey.
A little bit, not too much. Hockey is a little expensive. I had a single mom. We
See,
didn't have much money.
I told you. I played hocky in high school, and they were like,
sound like you did.
"Oh, you." Well, I didn't say A, so
No, but you
I'm from Clearfield, so Jose. But no, when they were like, "Oh yeah, you want to play? We need $4,000."
Yeah, it's
That's
ridiculous.
like, what?
Yeah, it's not like, you're not really getting hand-me-down hockey equipment. Like, they want you to get good stuff. So not a whole. We had to stick to more cost affordable sports.
So we can play flip cup.
Yeah, exactly. Right, dude. I got real good at Jenga, dude. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, but it was because it was just my mom and I when I lived in Canada. My dad had already moved to California when I was like just a little kid. So, but then one day I just got the opportunity. My dad's life was he was like set up in California, and I felt my mom was good to go, and so then I just tried living in San Diego, and then obviously it never went back to Winnipeg, dude. What the fuck?
Is there any good comedians from
No,
Canada?
not from Winnipeg.
Well, no, from Canada?
Well, yeah, dude. Mike Myers, fucking Jim Carrey.
Oh yeah.
But like right now, I can't remember his name. There's some
No,
New
the
York
guys, all the fucking Broken Lizard guys, like those guys are all from fucking Canada, right?
Tom Green.
Yeah, Tom Green. Yeah, he's a Canadian.
Tom Green.
There's a guy who's shit. He was just on Your Mom's House too. Ian Bagg. Ian Bagg's Canadian.
Oh,
Yeah, he's funny. He's got that real Canadian, like that old, like that rural Canadian attitude too.
He's
like
all, you want a 2-liter of soda?
Yeah, exactly, dude. Yeah. Holy fuck there, buddy. Like, stuff like that. Yeah.
Oh, you're good.
Dude, it's in there. What are you talking? It's in there. It's just me.
He's like, I haven't gotten rid of it.
I don't have to try. It's just already there.
So what brought you to Utah?
Just the world shutting down, So I was in LA after college, and I was there for just under a year, and then everything went to shit. And I could justify. I was in LA to do stand up, right?
Yeah.
And I could justify the shitty living situation, overpriced everything, and just hating being there. You could justify it because it's for comedy, right?
Yeah.
And this is where you go to make comedy happen or to be a comedian. So whatever, I'll put up with it, and one day it'll be worth it. And then when comedy is just taken away, it's like,
and you're just left with a shitty situation, right?
and I'm just paying way too much for a place I don't enjoy. So it's like, what the hell am I doing, right? I could go, and then comedy was just, it's like you could go pay to do an open mic in a public park in front of other comics who paid to be there. Nightmare situation.
Really?
And that was like the best thing going on during the time. So some open micers that I'd gotten close with, we all just kind of started talking. We're like, where are we going to go? We can't do this. So we just kind of compromised on Utah. So 6 of us moved out here originally. And then over the 2 years that we've been here, 2 have gone back to LA, and then 1 moved to a different part of Utah. And I'm like the only one doing stand-up anymore. Which is crazy.
Good for you, man.
Stand-up?
Yeah. One other guy kind of,
Yeah.
but he's busy with other stuff too. So
Yeah.
life just kind of happens,
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
And it's crazy to see, because I remember,
That
when
means he got someone pregnant.
one of them did. Yeah, one of them did. For sure. Yeah. Well, 2 of them.
Call.
2 of them.
Yeah, 2 of them. Yeah, of course. Yeah. That's just guys being
That's like a
dudes.
nice way to say it.
Dudes doing dude
That's a
shit,
nice-
right?
That's a nice way to say it.
This is guys being bros.
Life got in the way.
Oh, I knocked over this fish. I'm sorry.
No, it's
a bottle
okay.
opener,
It's a
dude.
bottle opener. It's tough as fucking nails.
All right. But yeah, so it was crazy is like, when you start comedy, when you're just doing open mics, you're going out to the bars. I remember, looking around at all the other comics, my friends, and thinking like, well, everybody here wants to make it. Everyone wants to succeed and be a comedian. But statistically, like, we can't all do
Right.
it. There's no way,
Right.
right? Especially a lot of them suck. So it's like, so then you go like, well, I remember thinking like, well, what happens then?
Yeah.
Like, and then is it going to happen to me? Whatever makes people drop off from pursuing this. And that would just kind of worry me and be in my head. And then, I just kept showing up because that's all I
Just keep grinding.
know and am.
Yeah.
That's my entire identity. And then, but then you just see it, you see life just kind of, people just, you know what, I'm kind of into this, or I got some chick pregnant, or I'm going to move out here, or this is a good job opportunity. And it's like, I just, that's just how it happens. So I'm glad that I fucking stuck with it though.
No, just like I was saying earlier, when I saw you open for Chappelle, that was the first time I had seen you. And then again, with Santino. It wasn't the same set, but it had some of the same jokes. But just in that little time that I've seen you, the mastered of the pause, the turn, the giggle,
Sure.
that like, oh, this guy's got something.
Yeah.
And then when we saw you together, it was like, we got to get that guy. He's legit.
Yeah.
So again,
Oh,
this is a big
thanks,
deal
man.
for us, man.
You got one of those jokes that, like you will tell it, and then you let them catch up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're just like, you say like this, and then you're just like, and then all of a sudden people go, and then they start laughing at the same time, and that's like the timing is
art
just
form.
so
It's
the
such an art
timing
form.
is just so dead
thanks. Yeah, I really do. I do care about that. I put effort into the writing a lot, for sure. And like are you good? Are you
Should I
decent?
do this?
Yeah. Come on, don't show me ankle.
Hey,
now.
sure. Cover your potty up.
Are you hot under there, bro? You doing
No,
okay?
I'm not. I
Cool, man.
before you showed up, I was. But are you hot?
I'm fine.
Yeah, you are.
Chilling, dude.
Wait, what?
Yeah, stop.
Anyway.
Do you know why they had those?
To put the stuff in the beak so they didn't smell the dead bodies, right?
I heard that probably makes sense, but I also heard.
You'll watch him say something like, "I heard pedophiles used to wear." I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ!
I also heard, the apothecary doctor, they'd stuff it with the spices and shit because
Yeah,
they
so
thought that if you smelled the plague, you would get it.
Right.
So they were trying to just not smell it.
That makes sense.
Yeah. But it's the same shit. You don't want to smell
Yeah.
nasty shit. Yeah. We stopped doing that. Doctors don't really care about smells anymore, huh?
I mean, we'd ask nowadays, so who gives a fuck, right? I mean, nobody cares. But we're beyond that.
thing, bro.
This is called evolution, my friend.
No, honestly, we've devolved from that. You could give her a back scratch while you do it with that thing. You know?
You scratch your own nuts with that.
I can rub the clip with this.
Oh, fuck.
By the way, so I'm a plague doctor. What are you, Justin?
I'm an insurance salesman. So, just to explain myself,
This is going back.
this goes back years to when the progressive, or is that what? Yeah, progressive commercials were starting to pop, and a former lover of Angel told me,
Look at it.
"Hey, you look like that motherfucker Jamie from the," and it just, I said, "You bitch."
Yeah.
So it dawned on me. So it ate me inside. So I sleep in this now. It's just to make me feel better about myself. I've embraced it.
He literally was like, dude, turn around. You'll see what I'm doing here. I'm like, okay.
I get out of the shower and I ask the wife, "Ma, you want some?" but so yeah, I've had this for months now,
Sure.
knowing that I was going to do
hell
this.
yeah,
So
man.
I had to send so I sent you that photo of last year.
Yeah.
When we all dressed up.
Yeah.
And after I sent it, I was like, oh fuck, I hope he doesn't think that there's 4 people on the podcast.
oh,
I was like, we all dress up, and I was
Yeah.
like, oh shit.
I've been working on this. Like I said, I've been working on this costume.
Yeah, tell people who you are.
Well, right now I'm Mitch Hedberg.
Rest in peace.
R.I.P. to the
Yeah.
goat. And if I take these off, I'm Kurt Cobain. Right? So Courtney Love fucking killed me.
There you go. You heard it here first.
You
heard
say
it here
allegedly, so we don't get sued.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, thank you.
Definitely. Come get me, MTV.
Oh, fuck.
Hey, you just said that you made a name for yourself. Is that? Would you say that was before you came here, or you did it here?
No, it's been in the last like 8 months only.
so
which is
from here.
Yeah. And it's
So basically, ever since we saw you. See what I'm saying, dude?
pretty much you guys
See what I'm
probably made the turn happen. So it was like probably back in January. I did this show I was hosting for Brian Callen. He came down.
Dude,
and
It's our
We missed
favorite,
it.
dude.
Yeah.
We love Brian Callen.
And that's a cool one too, actually, because him and I have a little history. We had just have one like
The kid?
Yes,
Damn,
sir.
dude.
When I was in college, I used to drive to Ventura from Santa Barbara. It's about a little under an hour. And I would drive to this Chinese restaurant called the Hong Kong, or the Hong Kong Inn, something like that. No, the Hong Kong Inn is a strip club in Tijuana.
Nice.
It's the Hong Kong Chinese restaurant. And
It still smells like fish, right?
it's still
Same
it's
thing.
also a
right?
strip club. Yeah. And on Mondays they would have their open mic, and it was just your bottom of the barrel, just like dog shit. Nobody. It's only comics, and the comics that are there are outside smoking and hanging out. So you're performing to nobody, and the one lady working, right? Well, and I would still go do it because I was 18, 19, whatever, and I just had to go somewhere for comedy. I would get up at 12:30, 1 in the morning, perform to no one, drive back home on a school night going like, why the fuck am I doing this? Like, that was pointless, you know? And then doing that for a while, eventually the guy who ran that mic starts booking shows in that room. And then one of those shows is Brian Callen and Nick Swartz and co-headlining.
Wow.
And just from the time I'd been putting in and just showing up and everything, the guy goes, "Do you want to ask me to be on the show?" Not only that, but do the feature spot. So before Callen, so it would have been host, me, Callen, Nick. So then I go up. I'm like 20, so 21, and I go up and I fucking crushed. And then Callen was watching, and as I'm walking back, he's like, "Dude, that was amazing. How old are you?"
Damn.
And I told him, I was like, "I'm 20, 21, whatever." He's like, "You got to move to LA like right now, like all this. We're gonna work together." I moved so then I did, like 6 months later, I moved to LA, and then
Well, he did that for Chappelle Lacey, right? He's the one that saw him in Arizona, wherever he was
did,
from.
yeah.
And he's like, you need to move to
yeah.
LA.
Well, Chappelle also actually is tight with Trevor too.
Yeah.
They go back
Oh,
because
yeah?
this other guy, Mike Turner, and
I'm sure he's watching.
yeah. So then when Callan came out here in January, I was hosting those shows, and he comes into the green room, and he's like, "Are you the kid from Ventura?" And I was like, "Yeah."
Damn.
He's like, "I still got your number in
You should
my
have said,
phone."
"Are you the kid?"
Yeah.
See what I did there? See what I did there?
Come on, man. Yeah. And so he's like, "Yeah, I still have you in this." So it was cool. So we just like, had a already rapport going.
Mm-hmm.
And then ever since then, that's when I started like taking like Instagram and posting videos like seriously, and that's been the big shift for me.
Right.
Is just my social media kind of blowing up, just from posting clips, and it's the same shit I've been saying, but
Right.
now just people are seeing it.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny how that works.
Callan, what one of the most animated comedians
Sure,
out there,
yeah,
right?
Yeah, the guy knows how to use his
His legs.
moves his
That's
thighs on stage, dude. Yeah, yeah,
I love when he does that.
yeah. He loves to fucking flex, dude. Yeah,
And talk about birds.
yeah,
Talking about birds.
yeah.
Yeah, he's like for everything. Like when he's talking about something, he was like, I'm sad. Like the
just
way
sad.
he just does this sad is just fucking hilarious.
Yeah, dude. And we like, I hung out with him after that one of those shows the last time he was here, and went out to a bar with him and like his friends, and it's like 3 professional fighters and like this guy who his job was to train tactical teams to take out poachers in Africa. Like
damn.
just the crazy, crazy.
Yeah.
These guys like Jason Bourne shit, and they're just all talking, amongst them. It's like he's talking about like the ivory, like situation,
The horns on the rhinos and shit.
all this like, oh my god, he's like, just crazy shit, just people that I didn't know existed, let alone in Utah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you
Go ahead.
what do you think about, I mean, being in California, along the LA, Ventura, all those places. What do you think about the comedy scene here in Utah? Just the time that you've been here, do you see an uptick on the way it is? This is a great place to be a comedian. Obviously, you're blowing up.
Yeah, it's a great place to develop for sure. It's a good place. Like Mark Norman said this. He said, like, this place is great for years 1 to 6. And yeah, from what I've gathered, like, if you can get in with wise guys and just keep doing, like, it's a good regular scene. It's not that big though, which is the only
drawback,
which is the biggest issue I have with it. It's just not that big. So, but at the same time, that has its benefits too. Because like when I got here, I was like, well, I'm just gonna try to outwork everybody here, right, and that's been my goal, and I feel like I've been doing pretty well with that. And that's not a dig on anyone. That's just personal goals, right?
Yeah.
And
well, you shouldn't dig just because you outwork everybody. That's just
and everybody's working at their own pace, but other people have like families and stuff like that.
They got pregnant and shit.
They got their chick pregnant. So, but in LA, the issue I saw was that it presents the illusion of a path in comedy where there is no one path. Like everyone's got to find, every comedian's got to find their own way. I did not expect, like 8 years ago when I started, Instagram Reels, TikTok wasn't even a thing.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's like how I could not have known that would be the thing to start things off for me. So I just lost my train of thought. Shit.
Let's just leave it. Let him burn.
just let him sizzle.
Yeah.
So So
Everybody's
the
like,
scene in LA. Yeah.
You're like bombing right now.
Dude, that's I was just talking to a buddy the other day, and he was like, "What's the thing you do when you don't know what joke you're gonna do?" Because everyone's got a thing.
Yeah.
I realized my thing is going. I go, yeah.
I've heard you say that.
Yeah. So like at the end of a joke, I'm trying to think. Yeah. What the hell? But
He was asking about
the scene in LA.
Yeah.
you know, it's like there's, people, a lot of comics go, a lot of young comics will go there and be like, oh, I have to go to this club, I have to go to this place
I have
on
to
this
be
day.
in the comedy store every fucking day.
Yeah,
right?
and it's like, you know, or the whole idea of paying for open mics too, like that's such a business in LA, which is so gross. Just to like you and other people who also paid just sit in a room. You would come to a room like this and then one at a time go up in front of each other, and everyone's just fucking on their phones anyway. So it's like, why wouldn't you just go in the parking lot and do it for free, or just hang out with each other and do it and write jokes? But then so many people think, well, I got to do this because this is what it is, but it's not. And I'm moving out here really taught me that, not necessarily this scene in particular, but just moving scenes. Because so many people told me when I left LA for Utah, they're like, what the hell are you doing? You take a step back, all this kind of stuff. Where it's like, you know, just because I didn't move to Austin chasing Joe Rogan or, you know, I just could not afford LA.
Yeah.
Right.
Not even to touch New York until I'm making bank. So, but yeah, what I learned is like, you don't have to necessarily be in that scene anymore, right? Just because of internet and all that shit. It's like, you know, my videos, they get at least, you know, tens of thousands of views. And it's like, that's just for me sitting and, you know, doing it here. So it's like, so yeah, that was like what the biggest thing I learned from the scene out here.
Imagine being the comedian where you had to do a spot here, go to the next spot, do what do they call what are the runs they used to call it? The old OGs, the triple runs.
The triple runs.
Yeah.
Yeah. I still hear guys talk about that
where
today.
you didn't have social media, where you could reach 10,000 people off of a 45-second clip, right?
Yeah.
Imagine that guy that had to do that. Imagine it just blows
Keith was one of those guys for a while. He started as a comic, just like touring, driving all over, and then
the dude opened up for Salt and Pepper.
Have you heard that story?
Have you heard that?
Heard the story?
Oh,
we had him on the pod. So we had him on the pod, but he was nice enough to say, let's do it at Wise Guys.
Yeah.
Which to us, I mean, this was our dream.
We kind of barely started, too. We were like, holy shit.
60, 70 episodes in, right?
Yeah.
And he's like, just come do it here. And we'll do it before a show. We'll set up on a table. And the doors were opening. People were coming in. It was such a fucking cool experience. But he told that story about, Mormon. Right?
Yep.
Very clean as it gets comic, right?
Oh, yeah.
And he told that story about opening up for Salt and Pepper, and he did that, oh, yeah, that whatever, you know, that thing he did. It was just like, he's all the words I heard.
Oh, shit.
He was like, he opened for Salt and Pepper and Tag Team.
Tag Team, that's who it was. And he even said,
he said they sang 3 songs and the first one and the last one were the same song.
That's awesome.
I actually know Keith, or got to, you know, go to see Keith because of our producer. He was like, you got to come see this guy.
Oh, yeah?
And I was like, oh, okay. And then after that, I remember it was whatever that is. That's where I bought the CD. And he was headlining back there.
Yeah.
And then this is the Wise Guys was. I was probably way before you, but it was
in Ogden, right?
No, by the
Trolley Square,
by the Maverick
right?
Center.
Oh,
By the Maverick Center.
So when I went to Wise Guys way back in the day, it was, growing up here, the one I knew of was in Ogden, and we're talking 20 years ago when I went there. I think I was just barely 21.
But it's still there, right?
yeah. They've moved it because the one you probably went to was the Comedy Cafe.
Yeah, and when he had got it, that's when they had turned it into Wise Guys.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that Ogden room's on.
I gotta take this off, dude. This is
I
fucking
bet you-
hurting my fucking.
And now he's got one in Vegas, dude. How
with
badass
Polly.
is he? With
With Polly.
Polly Shore.
Probably sure, yeah.
Have you been to the Vegas one?
Yeah. Yeah, I've done that club. That's a fun one. I feel like it's modeled after Ogden, which is my favorite room.
Is Ogden's bigger than?
No.
No?
It's like half the size, maybe even less.
Yeah.
Downtown's like 3 something, maybe around little under 3, where Ogden's like 140.
So you rather do smaller?
there's just something about that room, man.
And
there's just a pop,
Yeah.
you know, and you got the brick wall behind
Yeah.
you too. It's just a cool feeling. But there's just something electric in that room when something really hits. And whereas like the downtown, it's so big that it's more like a rolling kind of gradual, and then you got that section in the back over there, so it's like kind of starts here and then makes its way over there. But that Ogden one, they're right there, so it's just bam, right in your face, you know.
What's the biggest room you've ever done?
I guess it would be a college with or maybe Huntington Beach with Trevor Wallace. Actually, it might even be fucking Wise Guys, honestly, like club. But when I do Kingsbury Hall, that'll be it for sure.
Dude.
Yeah, which Keith was telling me he opened for fucking Gaffigan there. Yeah, at that place, because I told him I was doing it, and he's like, "Oh, you're gonna love it," and this and that. He told me who he worked for there. Unreal, man. Yeah.
Now, does he get to perform still, or not really? Is he just behind doors?
No, I don't think he performs really. He's so busy with Wise Guys and Dry Bar, you know, stuff like that. So
I would love to see him again, though. He's just.
I know, right? I'm trying to get him. to
that'd be
perform.
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, when it's just being there, and I think it was more intimidating. Like, to me, it was more intimidating the fact that we were at Wise Guys where most of our comic heroes have been in, that we were just like, holy shit, like, we're really here. And we had to do some research, right? He used to be a what is it called, a peephole
peephole salesman.
yeah,
he even had the
salesman.
drill with him.
Yeah, he would not.
He would drill the hole in the fucking
peepholes.
Wow, really?
And then his punchline was
sales
like
line.
he would knock on the door when they open and says, "Hey, you know, I'm here to selling peepholes," and he was like, "No, I'm not interested." And he was something like, "Are you sure? Because if you had these, you would have known that it was me, and you wouldn't have opened the door."
That's great. That's great.
But he just seems like so down to earth. Like, every time I see him, I really just want to go and talk to him. But part of me, I just go, I'm just gonna admire him from far away. I'm just gonna, like, I'm just barely gonna touch him. But this last time, this Saturday, he came up to me. He was like, "How's the podcast?" And I was like, "Oh, dude, I can't stop talking." I'm like, "Oh, you know."
Yeah,
and he was like,
dude,
"Okay,
he's
okay."
the coolest,
And I
man.
was like, "Oh, Trey, I'll make it happen." I was like,
Yep.
"Thank you," because he's been, blowing us off.
He's been blowing us off, right?
Like, whatever.
It's too Hollywood for us, I guess, right?
Hey, what can I say?
Hey, do you have to? Let me ask you this: when you came from California to here, did you? It's the first instinct to adopt your material to Utah.
No, I specifically didn't do that.
Okay.
Because I noticed how many people did.
Okay.
And that's just the contrarian in me. I feel like it should be in comics.
Is
It
is that stigma still a thing?
I don't, probably not. Okay. No, there's no, I'm sure not, especially because of woke comedy, dude.
Yeah.
So, like, technically, we, as comics, we should like Brendan Schaub. And we should all be supporting him because so many people don't.
Yeah.
Just like when it becomes cool to do something, I feel like we're supposed to do the opposite. Right? Like, it became cool to not like Nickelback. Well, I guess I like Nickelback then, right? And I gotta, that kind of thing.
How right is that?
How right is
No,
that?
just do what you
agree.
say. It's just like how spot on is that?
I
right?
mean, because it's lame. I just feel like it's just lame to do the thing that everyone's doing because it's, like Dane Cook. Everyone started shitting on Dane Cook. Well, I think he's great. How about that? Now what? Yeah.
Yep.
I forgot what we were talking about again. I'm
Yeah, that's when you go, yeah.
To like a guy like Brendan Schaub to do the thing that's not the popular thing to do, right?
Yeah. What before that though? You were saying.
I just if you have
your
to adjust.
material towards Utah, like
so when I saw a few people move out here and they're like, "Yeah, I'm from LA. What's with these Mormons?" Like, all right, well, already I'm not going to talk about that because it's like, how annoying must that be to watch somebody not from here talk shit about the thing that you've known for so long. It's like, I'm not trying to make enemies out the gate, right? I'm just trying to work on my jokes. I'm not that kind of comic. I mean, I'm becoming more diverse and versatile with what I can talk about, but it's like, I was just wanted to do jokes that worked. I was just trying to get laughs so that I could get respect from people in the scene, right? Because you'd see who's the people, who are the people here at this scene. You would see, you could see who goes up, is smooth up there, and is crushes on the open mics or whatever the case is, and it's like you could see pretty quickly. Yeah, thank you. You could see pretty quickly who it is, and so. Yeah, my goal when I came out here was just to do well with my material, and then just try to grow.
Because I will say, and you're talking about people how you want it. Maybe not trying to throw shit on someone else, but I've seen people that have opened like local comedians.
Yeah.
And then when I go to Wise Guys, like I see them and I'm like, oh, I remember that guy, and I remember that guy, and then you don't see him on stage.
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't know if they're working there, but there's one thing that I do remember clearly is like, I will see these local comedians go up there, and they're all clean.
Yeah.
And I didn't know if that was a thing, that it was like, if there was like a stigma, was like, oh, let's wait until you're at a level.
If I want to be popular here,
yeah, like let's just wait until you're at a level so you can start saying fuck, But since you're starting, I didn't know that was a thing, because for the most part, every time I saw somebody local go up, it was clean. That's what I was.
That's a Keith thing.
Okay.
Yeah, because of the culture in Utah, being clean is, and what I've learned, that's where the money's at too. So if you want to make money as a comedian, you better be good at being clean, because that's corporate gigs, that's private gigs. That's like, being clean is not just not swearing. It's not talking about politics. It's not talking about controversial stuff. It's stuff that anyone can enjoy. So when I first came out here and kind of got that sense as well, it's like, oh, clean seems to be how you progress out here. I'm sure maybe at first there was a little resistance, but it's like, what am I not gonna ever be good at? Like I'm trying to be a comedian. I should be able to do jokes about anything, right?
But when you say it's a Keith thing, is that because they do it for Keith, for having respect towards Keith, or Keith asks that you guys do that?
Keith's like, he will tell, like he's told like, groups of comics, whatever, basically what I just said. If you want to make money, you got to be clean.
Okay.
And so he's relayed that message like a handful of times to like the younger comics. It's like, don't, and it's I think it's good advice. Some people, they get whatever pissy about it, like, I don't see what I want. All right, go bomb with saying what you want.
Right.
It's like, but the message he's trying to get across is like, don't be vulgar for the sake of being vulgar.
Right.
It's like, you don't have, it's not cool. It's just like, what's cool, what's the value in comedy, what makes you cool in comedy is being funny, getting laughs, and crushing. Doesn't necessarily matter how you do it. That's what I love about it. It's a meritocracy. But
and it probably weighs a ton coming from a successful individual, right?
Exactly.
Right.
This guy is not only, is he...
Some Joe Blow off the street telling you want to make money, you got to be clean. You're like, well, I've built an empire, right? Take my word, right?
And still growing, too.
Right.
It's like, it's not even like the sun is setting on him. It's
right.
It's still going, baby. And, so... I think it's an invaluable lesson, and it's done a lot for me. Obviously, like when I'm hosting, it's got to be cleanish.
Yeah.
And it also depends on who it is.
Right.
But usually, keep it pretty clean, just because it's good business. As a host or a feature, it's like, you don't want to, if the show's about the headliner, right? So it's like, you just want to be kind of a blank canvas
that bridge
that just makes laughs happen, that don't really get too edgy. I mean, whatever. So, and then especially with Dry Bar, like I hosted some of the tapings that they're doing this year, and I'm sure I'll host a few more. And then like if I do a special one day, it's like, that'd be huge. And it's only 25 minutes, but it's like super clean.
Right.
But like, what am I not going to do that? Like, of course I would push myself to write good, clean stuff. I think it's way more clever. It's so hard, so much harder. I mean, to like write a really funny, good, clean joke that like, so, and then when I headlined the Ogden Room back in August, I that was a clean-ish. It's club clean, which means I slipped in a couple a hell or a damn, or maybe I said boner, but nothing too crazy.
Such a fucking Utah sense of humor.
No, because I would say that here in Utah, that we get right to the barrier, right? And that's what people find funny, right? When you just kind of push the envelope, you don't drop off the bag and fuck pussy or whatever.
Yeah.
But you get right there, and that's where the majority, we live in Utah, that's where the majority of the people are like, I relate to that. I get that.
Yep. Yeah, building the tension, releasing the tension.
Yeah.
That's what you want to do. But then, like the more shows you do and the more crowds you see, it's like, you just got to, who's coming to shows? It's like families. It's working class people. It's like, so
it's an odd persona that Utah has, right? Like we talk about it a million times. The reason we did the other side of the Beehive is because we just wanted to talk about, hey, where are you from? I'm from Utah. Oh, you're Mormon, huh? Mm-hmm. Well, no, I'm not Mormon.
He's like, listen to my podcast.
There's another side to Utah, right? That's where we agree on that there's more to it than just the Mormon. It's a big part here, right? But it's not everything, right?
Yeah, exactly. They do run things, but there's so much more to it. Like, I mean, Salt Lake City alone is like, that's where, like, the people who come to those shows are way different than the people who come to Ogden, Jordan Landing, sort of deal. Dry Bar especially. Yeah, you can tell.
Dude, how do you? I always try to figure out a way to do this, and obviously I'm not a comic, so I don't know the etiquette of if you can talk about this. But how do you? First of all, is it easy to write comedy, and how do you write? You obviously you don't have to answer. I don't know if it's a secret of how you do things. No secret. But I just don't know, because every now and then I'm like, I should do the open mic or whatever. What is it, 3 minutes or something? Mm-hmm. And I was like, I should just go over there and make a fool of myself or whatever. But I just don't know. I think him and I are used to coming over here and talk about our personal stories, but we make it in a funny way.
Yeah.
But I don't know. And I mentioned this to Keith when we had him on the pod, but I just don't know if that's considered comedy. So how do you write? How do you know? Oh, there's something here. Like I can't figure out how to write material.
Yeah, it's tough to answer that, but the best way for you to start figuring out how you would do it is to go and do it. That's is the number one way. Anytime someone asks me, I've been thinking about doing stand up, but I've written down some stuff, but I don't know. Just go do it.
Yeah. And
then after you've done it, you'll get a better idea of what you need to do. Because you'll go up. I was just saying this to my buddy today. You can't imagine. You cannot imagine what it's like to do stand up. It's just until you've done it, you just can't. You can try to picture it, but it's like it's just, you're not gonna get the lessons unless you actually try it. And then you're gonna go up and you're gonna bomb probably, or you might get some laughs, and then you'll feel how you do it, and then you go, oh, okay, maybe I should. And then watching yourself too. So I don't know.
It's a very vulnerable art form.
Oh, for sure.
Right?
Yeah. So many of my jokes are about the male insecurity, and like the ego, making fun of the ego, So like that's where I get a lot of my stuff from, is like, try to make fun of myself and like what things. I know I've got something when it's something that I felt insecure about in the past, like I have a joke about when your girlfriend has a best friend that's a guy, like her best friend's a dude, and like how insecure that makes you as a guy. And then, or stuff about like some of my favorite jokes about like my exes being gay now since we've broken up.
Right.
Like, when that happens,
that bit is fucking amazing, by the way.
Thanks. Fuck. Yeah. That one just keeps on getting. That's the one bit that keeps on getting too. I'm always thinking of other shit to add to that. It's got some of my favorite lines in that. But like when that happens, it's like, oh, I just kind of try to take a step back, and just look at my life, look at the events that are happening. And, I just I realize it has to be happening to other people too. And then, yeah, but especially if something makes me insecure, if something kind of, challenges my ego or upsets me, it's like, I gotta make something about this, Now,
once you realize that you have something there, do you put it on paper? Is saying it out loud into yourself, is that a thing?
I don't really. Maybe I'll kind of mumble to myself walking around a store or something, just like a little bit. But like I don't have it with me now, but I always carry a notebook where I just jot down ideas, and then that's really all I write in. Most of my writing, and the most effective thing for my writing, is to watch my sets. So like I've been recording my sets forever. Usually I just set up my phone somewhere, record it, and then later that night I would watch it. It took a while to be okay with watching myself, especially watching myself bomb. That's hard to do, but then you get over it. And I would tell myself, it's like, well, I'm trying to be a famous comedian. I'm going to see myself, right? So I just got used to that early. And I tell that to comedians too, and they're like, what's whatever? Can you give me whatever? What's something you do? Or I go, watch your sets. That's the best thing. They go, oh, I can't stand this. Well, then what?
What?
Are you doing
How
this
can
or
you
not?
expect somebody else to watch you then?
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Like, are we doing this or not? Like, there's gonna be harder things in comedy, I guarantee you, than having to watch yourself. So, and then also, if you suck, then make yourself worth watching. Like you said.
Right.
So, so what I'll do now is like, I record, and then I'll go home, I'll watch the whole set a couple times, and then I'll pick one bit, and I'll just watch it and watch it and watch it and watch it and watch it till it stops being funny to me. Because then you'll just start picking it apart. So then I go, well, it's actually not that good. How can I make this better? Should I add something to it? Oh, maybe, actually I'm kind of leading it towards this. I could take it this way. Oh, I actually talk about this in a different bit. Maybe I could make this one whole thing, that sort of deal. So, but then, like sometimes, some jokes like take days, even months to like figure out, or I'll like, dude, I had jokes that I wrote freshman year of college that I would do, and they just didn't really work, and then I just fuck it, and then like a few months ago,
You pick them up later.
6 years later, I'm going back in my old notebooks. I'm like, you know what? I actually kind of had something there. I just didn't know how to do it the right way. Now I do. So it's like, there's some, it's like, oh, all this needed was a better setup. I just needed to be more clear. The punchline was already there. There's been a few of those. So or sometimes I'll just be driving to a mic, or a show, and just thinking to keep the music kind of low so I can think. And dude, something will just fucking pop in, and I'm like, that's gold. I'm gonna try it. I gotta try it right now, And those don't happen often. Definitely, I wish they did, but like most of the time, it's like, this is kind of something. Let me work on it for a few weeks or a while,
Listening to some of the podcasts that I follow, which is the majority are comedians.
Yeah.
Is how true is it? You would say that all comedians are broken?
It's not. I don't think so. No. I mean, like, everyone's got issues, but that's just people, right? It's like, maybe the good comedians are kind of broken in some way, but not all comedians, right? Like, so, I mean, D'Elia put a whole special out talking about how his life was great. Like, true. So, and he is a comedian. Say what you will about him.
Yeah.
Of one of the names he has, one of them is comedian. So, but for me, I think I tell people that, to be a good comic, we toe the line between delusion and self-loathing. Like, it's got to be the perfect combo of both. So like you got to be delusional enough to get on stage at all, under a spotlight with a microphone in front of strangers, thinking that what you have to say is worth their time and their money, right? Yeah. But you also have to have the self-loathing to be self-aware enough so that when you're up there, what you're saying is funny, so that you're making fun of shit. So some comics, they go too far in the delusion and they just think they're hot shit, and so they're never really that funny, but they just act like it. It's the fake it till you make it sort of deal, right? It's like, well, I'm doing the things that comedians do, right? But they're not really building an essence or a personality or any, talent. But then some people are just like way too just depressed. And like I got some buddies out here who are like excellent writers, but they just don't go after it enough. And it's like, man, if only you gave a shit more, like the things you would be accomplishing. Right. But so it goes, so like, I don't know. I think maybe, you got to have enough humility to make fun of, to be self-aware. That's like one of the things Louis says in, I forget which special, but he goes, self-love is great, but self-awareness is much more important, right? Like you got to understand.
You got to know your place.
You got to know your place. You got to understand how you're presenting yourself to people and how, like so much of comedy is being perceived, right? So it's like you got to care about what people think, because it's like when you a little bit. So, I mean, some comics are good at acting like they don't, but they do. They're just really good at seeming like they don't, But my favorite comedians are broken. So, yeah.
Look at Jerry Seinfeld. I don't want to say that's a broken comedian. He's one of the goats.
Yeah, but do you love
look at it right?
Yeah, but I don't know. Seinfeld material.
Trey Lamb's about to shit on.
But I mean, if we're talking,
the show is my absolute favorite show. I just like his bits. It's like some of his bits.
But isn't that like listening to Fighter and the Kid or whatever? They say that like Jay Leno and Jerry Seinfeld, like they still have the same material.
Yeah, it's like Led Zeppelin and Stairway to Heaven, right?
Yeah, but they don't necessarily need to come up with new stuff because they're billionaires just out of saying the same jokes over and over again.
But you got, but you
and that's
think
how
about.
I felt on George Lopez when I first started hearing George Lopez. And by the way, one of my favorites, obviously, he looks like my uncle. But like one of the things that I liked when I first started hearing George Lopez is like, and honestly, when he talks about how Latinos do shit, I was like, dude, that's so dead on.
Yeah,
that made me laugh so hard. But then it seems like it's the same thing. It's just different jokes.
But what I was getting at is how long does that last? Like there's this window, right? And you can tell the guys that are always progressing and always building. And there's the guys that can go out. I'll sell 20,000 tickets at somewhere, and I'll say the same stuff and the stuff that they want to hear. But that window doesn't last. Look, what's his name? Hickory Dickory Dock. Dice.
Andrew
you know
Dice
what?
Clay,
It was that moment in time, and he had one of the greatest runs, right? But then it just died out. And now what do you expect from when you go see it? Well, it's what I'm going to see, right?
Yeah.
But it's not like he's out headlining the Maverick Center right now, right?
No. I hear he's like just become that character.
Yeah.
He just like is that all the time now.
What was his name before? He because that was just a character during his set, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
What, Andrew Dice Clay?
Yeah.
Oh.
I met his son at an open mic in
Really?
LA one time. Yeah.
He's following his steps, huh? Or he just...
Yeah, and he was bad.
Dirty.
Shouts out, brother.
Tré Lamb, everybody.
Shouts out, brother. I hope you're watching. Hope you're still chasing it. Yeah, it was like at the Haha Comedy Club, and they did an open mic on their outside back patio, not even in the fucking club. You had to go outside where they had just like a stage, and you would just go up in front of each other. Yeah. That's what I'm going back to next week.
Yeah.
That's what I'm heading back to. Yeah.
Yo, so how do you get those? How do you get the out of town gigs? Do they get a hold of you?
So yeah, this one
you get a hold of them.
This one started because the college, the one I went to, actually in Santa Barbara, they reached out to me. They're like, asked me to headline the show, and so obviously I'm gonna do that. And then once I solidified a date, then I just start hitting up people around that. Because like now, you know, when people come through, if they're traveling and they come to Wise Guys, we get to talking, you know, like, hey, come on, if you're ever in town, come on out. So I'm just calling in those favors.
Right.
And then on top of that, when I'm hosting for like these headliners, like Santino, for example,
Keep it rolling. I gotta piss.
yeah. He, like, we hit it off and he gave me his number and then said,
Santino did?
yeah. And goes, if you're next time you're in LA, if you want to, you know, I'll help you get up at places. So hit me up. And then I booked this spot, and then so a couple weeks ago, I did text him, just like see if the number's even real. Yeah. And I go, hey, I'm gonna be there at this date, whatever. And he said, yeah, text me when you're in town. We'll do it. So, so it's stuff like that too.
Yeah.
I've just kind of accumulated some contacts and some people who can make it happen for me. So
that's so cool, man. That is so awesome.
And then so for other road gigs though, like in January, I'm going to like Louisiana and Texas with a couple other guys who have contacts. So it's just, you know, people like just people, you know, hook you up. Hey, I know this person, hit them up. Don't worry about it, sort of deal. And, you know, like, yeah, when people from LA come through, like, and, you know, friends of mine, I'll let them crash at my place. I'll take them around, show them Wise Guys, show them the rooms.
Are you here by yourself then?
I still live with a couple guys.
Okay.
But after this year, I don't know what's going to happen.
But would you stay around or you?
I'm thinking about it. I'm thinking like if I can just like get busy with road gigs, then yeah, probably get a place out here, something a little more permanent.
Yeah.
And then just do the road because it's like more affordable. So
yeah.
Yeah, I'm thinking I might do that. And then it's kind of more a little closer to the middle of the country so that like the flights aren't as bad.
Yeah. Instead of going from one side or the other, you're in the middle, you just do this.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So it's not bad in that regard. And then it's just like, I don't know. I do think about it though. Like where do I want to go? Like what's the next, at what point am I, like wasting my time? Not, you know, wasting, but at what point is my time and effort better spent in maybe a bigger scene with more industry? But then the question comes up, well, what even is industry anymore?
Yeah.
It's like I get more views on my own videos on my own Instagram than a lot of these other platforms, you know, like, so like exposure isn't really a thing for me. I don't need anymore.
Yeah. And I guess nowadays is quote unquote easier, right? Because you could just do your own, you could just record yourself. You could just put it on your own channel. Yeah. And just get it, you know, like I said, the recognition. You already have the recognition by by doing it for so many years.
I feel like it should. Yeah, I feel like it should be easier to get, if I wanted to, which I kind of do, to get like an agent or a manager because it's like, well, here's a proof of concept. Here's 80 whatever thousand people who are into my stuff. You know, like it's not like I'm just starting out. So it's, it's easier. At the same time, everyone can do it. Yeah. So it's definitely more saturated, but with that, the best stuff is gonna rise to the top. I feel like
not everybody can do it though. Six of you came here.
Right.
One of you still standing. Right.
Fair enough. Yeah. Yeah. Everyone. Yeah, not everyone can.
But you're Kurt Cobain, so you won't be staying too long.
Fair enough. Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
I'm 26, 27.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. Good. Thanks for doing the pod before.
Yes, sir.
Have you done any other podcasts?
I think so.
It's like it's either a podcast or an orgy. I can't remember what it was.
Somebody was blowing me.
Oh, it was this podcast.
Yeah, it's not over yet. Yo,
I know I did one other one out here, but and then I just do mine.
Nice.
Yeah.
So when did you start getting into podcasting? Obviously, 15 episodes ago?
Yeah, so I've been thinking about it for years, and I've had other like comics telling me, you gotta start one, even before the big podcast boom. I was just always say, I got nothing to say. 19, 20, what the hell am I going to talk about? But now, yeah, I feel like I have something to talk about, and there's people who listen.
Yeah.
You know, it's, we don't get big numbers, but definitely get more like listens than we do views. But yeah, that's what got me into it. I was just like, and I wanted to do it myself too. Like I started one like a couple years ago with one of my roommates, and it just didn't feel right. It felt too forced. But then this one, it just kind of felt just more natural, and yeah, every part of it was, and I'm enjoying it more too. Every time I do it, it's like I like it more. I'm getting a little more invested. And then it helped that one of our rooms freed up, so I turned it into the studio.
Oh, nice.
In our house, yeah. But yeah, I was just a big fan of podcasting. Like Theo's one of my favorite to listen to, and you know, Bill Burr, obviously.
No, Theo.
Oh, Theo.
Yeah,
oh,
yeah. Just, you know,
The shit that comes out of that dude's mouth.
exactly, man.
My
I just
God.
I love his
Like,
style.
where does that come from?
Did you hear him interview Scott Tapp?
Yes.
Oh my god.
Oh my hell,
Like,
dude.
Damn, dude.
From Creed.
Oh,
And the fact that he said what everybody was saying is like, remember, it's not cool. Basically, in not so many words, but like remember, it's not cool to like fucking Creed. And I was like, ooh. But he said Nickelback. He said what you said, right?
Yeah.
I was like, yes, thank God.
yeah, man. He is a fucking genius, dude.
I'm so bummed he's not on this King and this Thing anymore. They're about to change the name too. You watch.
Oh, of course, dude. He from the because I got into that King of this Thing when it started. 'Cause I was heavy into this past weekend, and but you could tell. You could tell when.
You can pull it away a little bit, Wayne. You can
He's
drop it
getting
down.
excited.
They're pretty hot mics.
Oh, my bad. I've been.
No,
No,
you're good. You're good.
When King of this Thing started, like so much of it, because Theo was also quitting smoking at the time.
Yeah.
So he was like, he was on edge. He was pretty pissed off, like most of the episodes. And then you add Brendan Schaub just saying the shit he does.
They would go at each other.
They would,
oh,
Theo
dude.
would actually be kind of mean, and I loved it,
Yes.
dude. Because like I love when comics get like kind of serious when they like
they shit
actually
on
get
each
a
other.
little mad. It's like, oh, you're fucking bad, dude. And then you add, you know, the passion that comes with the frustration. You add that to Theo's just the way his mind works and the way he speaks. It's just it's beautiful, man.
Yeah.
Like, and so much of like even the name of it, King and the Sting, like. Theo called himself the Rat King, and then one time said that Brendan looked like he was stung by a bunch of bees.
He just got stung by a bunch of bees.
Yeah, so it's like it's all Theo.
Yeah.
It's all Theo, man.
Right.
You know, everything you love about it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We
he's
love
the
Theo.
best.
I mean, we love all those guys: Theo, Schaub, Callan.
Yeah.
I'm Santino. We're huge Mark Norman.
Oh,
fan.
dude,
I mean,
Mark
of course,
Norman.
dude.
He's one of those guys that it's like, what did he just say?
Yeah.
Like, where does that come from?
Oh, dude, he had those banger, just those little comments in the Protect Our Parks.
Yeah. With Rogan.
Oh, dude.
When they go to,
Dude, when Rogan says he's just trying to explain a bomb, and he's like, "I'm not an expert in bombing."
Yeah. Have you seen your act?
He listens from the back, and you should listen to your act.
Yeah.
Oh, dude,
Yeah.
it is so
Or
funny.
then when someone was like, "You look like they're looking at Joe, one of his specials," and Ari's like, "You look like a silverback up there," and then Mark goes, "Silver hack."
What was the one when he said, it's when, what's his name was trashed?
Beaver.
No, yeah. Yeah,
Ari Shaffir.
Ari Shaffir was trashed, and he was trying to talk. He's like, "Man, you sound like Justin Bieber," and he just had that fucking.
You sound like Justin Bieber's face.
Oh, in his face! I was like, "Oh, that is so gold." That's so shit.
So I told him about that because that was a week or two after he was here, after
Yeah.
he did that, after that episode came out, and I had to tell him, I was like, dude, I mean, silver hack, bomb expert. He was like, I got more DMs for those fucking lines than for anything I've ever done. You know, he's like, Seinfeld shouted me out. I got all this and that. Those were the ones.
Wow.
Man,
Yeah,
that people.
and Shane Gillis is another one too.
Oh,
like
dude.
the shit that
Dude,
he comes out with.
well, because he's like Louis. He's Louis.
Yeah.
He's like Louis.
A younger Louis.
Exactly.
Oh.
Yeah, and because you can tell he's, well, and he said it too, but he's just like all about, like, Louis is his guy
Yeah.
too,
Yeah.
and so he really kind of emanates that. He told me when he was out here, when Shane was out here. Did you see him when he came out here?
Who?
Shane
Shane
Gillis?
Gillis.
Shane Gillis. No.
No.
So
missed him.
he has his closing bit. That's just, it's his closer. So it's obviously it's really great. And him and I were talking about it because he would just come and hang with anybody, comics, just fans, anybody,
Okay.
getting Bud Lights, just getting shit faced.
Tank.
Yeah, dude. Anyway, we were talking about. I was asking him about Louis. And yeah, he said that Louis told him about that bit, that closing bit. He's like, that's great. It's a great bit. If you want to do a special, you need an hour of those. And even Shane was like, oh, fuck.
Yeah.
Like,
Wow.
you know, it's your closer for a reason, you know, like, and it's really well done.
Did you
But-
watch this special?
I did.
So
Yeah, live in Austin. Yeah. So
You-
good, man.
Do you think there's a time within the next year or so that you sit back and you film a special and put it on your own page?
Man, I've been thinking about that. You know, I really have.
Because it's so easy now, right?
Dude,
Like we're not waiting for Showtime to say, "Hey, guess
Yeah.
what, Trey? We're gonna do a special, right?"
I could literally do it all by myself. I have the cameras. I have that shoot in 4K. It's as good as you're gonna
I'll let you
get.
borrow this one too. It's 4K.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have two now.
I've got the cameras. I got the audio. I've got the jokes. I can talk to Keith. Can I go in Ogden? Let me do a weekend in Ogden. Whatever the case is. And then I know how to edit. You know, so yeah, I could. So I've thought about that, and that was kind of part of why I learned how to do all this stuff too.
Right.
It's like, what the fuck? I can just. I don't need to rely
You're
on
investing
anybody.
in yourself.
I don't
Absolutely.
need to. Yeah, I don't need to hire a director and figure out their personality. I'm honestly, I'm trying to be Louis. I'm trying to know all of the things. Like when it came to his show, he did everything, right? That's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to be able to do every single position so that when I'm where I want to be, I understand how everything's done. I can be a good leader or I can be a good self-producer. And, you know, and I kind of learned that lesson a little bit with when I headlined the Ogden room, because that was my first time like headlining a club, like officially. My name's on the sign. Like that was the first time.
What was that feeling like when you saw that?
Dude, unbelievable, man. It was so fucking cool. I flew my mom out. From
I
Canada.
love hearing that, dude. I
Yeah,
love hearing that.
She'd never seen me do stand up before either.
No way.
Yeah, she's been in Canada this whole time. And so I flew her out to see it. She obviously lost her shit, you know, just seeing my name up there. But what I learned from headlining, you know, stressing so hard, but I learned how easy it is. Like, because this whole time I've been hosting. I've gotten used to hosting. I've gotten used to going up in front of cold crowds and trying to make my jokes happen, right? And then I would still do well, but I didn't realize how much better it would be in front of a warm crowd, right? So when I went up, and then when I'm headlining, it's like 40 minutes in, it's like, dude, they're still laughing at this shit. Like, it's
Wow.
still getting pops. It's like, well, I'm getting tired and they're not even getting, you know, so that was such a cool feeling. And then when I just headlined the Salt Lake City, the downtown here on Sunday, like last Sunday, that was the first time that, like, I noticed a pop when they brought me out on stage. Like,
Oh,
people
wow.
actually
They knew you?
cheered harder
Yeah.
and like were yelling and that was like unbelievable. You know, there was only like 100-something people maybe in
wow.
that big room, so it wasn't, you know, full, not even half full by any means, but still, I mean, for a Sunday in Utah, and just to have people fucking come to see me is just such an unreal feeling, you know. But then but to go in front of a warm crowd who's who's there to see you, who like knows my style or likes my stuff. It's like, yeah, it's the best feeling. You know, it really is. Yeah. As stressful as it is, being like, nobody's going to come to the show. Like, how do I get, you know, whatever. It's unreal. I know there's going to be bad ones in the future. It's not just going to be great and only getting better all the time. There's going to be times where, you know, where I start doing the road more, but then I get booked in freaking Tuscaloosa and I go for 12 in front of 12 people who don't even like me. Like, I know that's in my future and I'm ready for it. Yeah.
How's Keith as a boss?
Oh, he's the best, man. Yeah, he's the best, you know. I've only known him. Yeah, I mean, it's only been 2 years, and we're already so tight.
And again, the people that we listen to on their podcast, they all talk wonderful things.
Everybody,
every single person. Dude.
And it's not that they just say, "Oh, I love Wise Guys. It's great." They always say Keith is the man.
He's one of few club owners that get named.
Yep.
Like get named outside of the club. You know.
Yeah.
And I think a big part of it is because he was a comic.
And that's what I was gonna ask. Do you think it's different because he's done
Absolutely, man. It's got it because he knows.
How many do you know? I know, just whatever, dude.
You've done it. You've kept it on the whole time, though. Like,
I know. I haven't looked at the camera one time this whole time. I'm trying to see if we clear the microphone.
Yeah.
So, how many in all the places that you've been in? How many people that are owners are comedians? Not a lot, I'm guessing, right?
I know. I mean, I haven't met that many club owners yet. I've met some that. Here's the difference, man. Is that Keith did comedy, and then stopped, but really focused on.
So it also helps the fact that he doesn't do it anymore.
I think a little bit, yeah, because his ego is taken out of it completely. It's all business. Yeah. He just wants it to go well, and he knows, because of his experience, how to make it go well for everybody, not just for him. And I think that's the big... I've met producers or club owners who, you know, they put on a show, but they get a guest spot on every show. They're going to go up and do 5-10 minutes, and they're going to do the same shit that they do every week because they don't have enough time. They're focused on producing the shows. They're stressed about that because it is a real job, and it's like they're where the money's at. So then they can't afford time to writing and developing as a comic. So then they just don't. But then, and so it's like kind of a stalemate. They don't really get, you know, they don't make great shows because they're trying to make them good for themselves. But then they don't become good comics because they're doing shows, trying to produce shows. But yeah, I met another guy down in Phoenix who. He's a very successful club owner as well, all over the country, even in Canada. He doesn't do it anymore either, and very successful.
Do you have a 9 to 5?
Yeah.
Do you?
Yeah. I don't want to say what it is though.
That's okay. Yeah, we don't blame you.
I'm trying to get to a point where.
I work in trails.
He's all, welcome to the stage, Cinnamon.
Yeah.
Kurt Cobain.
Yeah, I'm in a Nirvana cover band called Valhalla.
Hey, how was your, speaking of something else, how was your trip?
Dude, fuck. Well, we don't want him. We didn't want to go down that fucking trail. It was, just to be short, cause we're running on time.
Okay.
So I bought a...
Are you leaving tomorrow morning?
Yeah.
Okay. Are you? Yeah. We I bought, like I said, I bought a brand new fifth wheel travel trailer. I mean, I went balls out on it. And every motherfucker that told me, he's like, well, you make sure that shit works. I'm like, hey, I sat in my driveway and I listened to the stereo. Yeah. I turned the water on. I laid in the bed. That shit is legit, right? I got it out there. First off, I got it stuck. Ooh. So imagine sinking your, we won't say what it costs. Yeah. Imagine sinking this 40-foot fucking travel trailer in the sand. Bad enough that I was in it and I looked at the wife and she's like, I'm getting out. And she got out and she walked as far out as she could because she knew it had just clicked. It had just hit, and I lost my shit.
Ooh. Of course, man.
So after, you'll never hear me say this. Thank God for people that litter and fucking throw shit out in the middle of nowhere
yeah.
because I got concrete forms and scaffolding boards to put under my tires to fucking pull this fucking thing out, right?
You never said me say this again.
So yeah, don't litter, but unless you're in the middle of somewhere where somebody's gonna throw that shit everywhere.
Don't litter unless it's useful shit.
Yeah, absolutely. So I got it unstuck. We set it up. I mean, it takes an hour or whatever to get it stuck. I fucking finally felt like, yeah, look at my life. I've accomplished something. The fucking batteries die on the motherfucker. The batteries die. I can't run the generator. I can't run the fucking lights. I can't run nothing. So for 8 days, I ran the generators 18 hours of the fucking day. I got no sleep for eight days because every 2 hours I would wake up, go outside in 30-degree weather in my underwear where there's fucking coyotes and shit.
Yeah.
Fucking
Your long balls.
my long balls just hanging out there. Well, it was cold, so they were tucked in tight.
Come on, man.
So starting the fucking generator, right? Sometimes it would start, sometimes I wouldn't. I'm like, man, I hope somebody doesn't sleep in so I can ask them to jump my shit. The second night in, I think I've got it figured out. We're good. I'm going to deal with it. I'm 7 sheets to the wind, standing by the campfire, having a nice stogie, nice glass of whiskey. I hear this, Justin, get in the trailer now. So I run into the fucking trailer. Water.
Is that your daughter?
No, it was just me and the wife. Water is gushing from the fucking the island in the fucking going into the electrical fireplace.
Oh, nice.
So what they didn't tell me is about 85% of people that buy new trailers, when you get it out of the box, they're not perfect.
Oh,
and so they take them back a couple times. I dropped it off when we got back, and they said, "Oh yeah, we'll get that shit fixed." But it was a disaster. But it was nice to go out and about. We went on some good rides. I went to that UTV invasion, and it was. I'll show you some pictures. Yeah. There was 20,000 people out on the beach just partying. Cops just hanging about. Yeah. People are just drinking and just smoking and doing all sorts of crazy shit. It was a good time, but it didn't go smooth. That's yeah. So,
well, I guess that's basically you need to do it in order to get it top notch.
That's what they say. He says, well, you got to take it out and make sure it's fucking works before you take it out again.
He's going out there working on his material. You're going out there working on your trailer. Yeah. Get all tight.
Right. So, but before you take off, being on the other side of the Beehive, every guest that we have on the other side of the Beehive
has answered this question.
Now, on the other side of the Beehive, I love that you looked at the camera. We get in tune with our male sexual side, right? We borderline. I mean, you would watch this podcast and go, "Those guys queer?
Those guys are weird."
But the biggest
part where you guys fuck me. Is that
it's gonna go on our Patreon.
Not you, not us, but you might fuck us. Right?
Okay. So this Beehive is all about finding the gay in all of us.
So we have to ask this question:
can you kiss us? No, I'm just kidding.
No. Who is your man crush? Because we all have a man crush.
Currently?
Yes.
Oh, damn. This motherfucker's got level.
He's all, pulls out his fucking phone, flips through it. He's like, well, 3 years ago, I was
really crushing on. Okay. I mean, it's probably like outside of comedy.
Yeah. Who if you were saying,
Jesus, can you imagine Louis?
if you were going to say,
wait, do you mean like who I'm sexually attracted to?
Yeah, absolutely. Sure. Absolutely. Because every guy out there looks at a guy and they're like, that's a beautiful man.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't want to know who makes you laugh.
Well, you know who's okay.
This is the part where you guys fuck me.
I don't know, bro.
I turn the camera off. Yeah. The lights go dim.
Dude, I thought we were all putting on masks. Yeah. Man, who would it be? I know. I mean, I feel like Jared Leto's kind of a cop out.
Ooh, no, that's a good one.
Yeah, that's a good one.
It's a very beautiful man.
Jared Leto from Dallas Buyers Club.
The heroin.
When he's all fucking dying.
He looks like me.
I'll take Jared Leto dying of AIDS. Or you know who would be back in like 2003? It would be Enrique Iglesias.
Oh wow! With or without the mole?
Yeah, before the mole removal.
Before,
Wait,
yeah.
you have-
'Cause I
you
got
have-
one,
yeah,
baby.
Yeah, that
See?
could
He
be
took it off
your
and I tried to put it
hero,
on.
baby. That one.
Put those together, dude.
When we kissed, it went from it transferred.
That's like the
from
phrase,
him
dude.
to
If he
me.
has it on the other side, it's meant to be.
It's like a clit. It's like scissoring for dudes.
Well, dude, for me, I need to find a guy with a Hitler stash. So when we kiss, so I'll
I'm
actually
trying
have
to
a
touch
full
my
mustache.
face and I just think it is.
You're like, why can't I touch my face?
Oh fuck.
Or
Oh, he's got a list
Hell
of them. I
yeah,
like
dude.
this guy.
It's a horny motherfucker.
dude, don't get me started on dudes. What's his name? Jason Momoa.
Ooh.
But when he was from the movie Johnson's Family Vacation.
Hold on, is that where Cedar the
Yep.
the entertainer?
Yeah,
What's his
Cedric.
name? Cedric the entertainer.
Yeah. He's the dad, and Lil Bow Wow's in it.
Yeah. Yo, that girl is Beyonce's sister, right?
Oh, that's
Knowles. Not Knowles. Knowles is
yeah,
the.
it is Knowles. It's
No, Knowles is the last name.
yeah, well, yeah, it's Knowles. What's her name?
Do you
Solange
think,
or some shit like
fucking
that?
Jay-Z
It's
said that?
Solange,
He's
bro.
all, well, it's a Knowles, right?
You remember when she beat the shit out of him?
Yeah, in the elevator. That was
Sister?
all to self. That was. I feel like that was kind of.
Anyway.
They just
Boy.
so happened to announce a world tour together, like a fucking month later after that.
Oh yeah, that's right.
It's like Jay-Z's cheating on Beyonce. Oh, and now they're going on tour together.
Yeah, I do remember. Fuck, my
Yeah.
mom was supposedly working on that movie. I guess that he was supposedly working in the hotel.
Yeah.
So he was all like,
Yeah,
Yo, I don't know anything about
"Oh, dude,
this.
you
was-
have short hair? No,
it was right before.
no beer."
It was right before. What's her album? The one Lemonade. When she was like
Yeah.
that album.
Mm-hmm.
It was leading up to that. It was like, oh, Jay-Z's cheating on Beyonce.
Yeah.
Jay- and then Beyonce puts
Justin
out.
knows all about it.
And then right before Beyonce puts out an album about like, fuck man, I don't need no man,
Yeah.
breakup songs and like that kind of shit. And then they announced, give me a break.
She went Taylor Swift on us, dude.
Yeah, they really did.
Yeah.
Oh,
But
okay.
and they're still together.
Yeah.
So it's like, what the fuck?
yeah. Kanye can't say the same thing.
So
anyway.
Oh, you burning your Adidas yet or what?
Dude, oh, I meant to wear Yeezys, bro. Dude, that shit's so wild, man. Whatever.
How long are we gonna pretend that he's not sick?
We all know he's sick though, but I think that's what draws us to him, right?
Who's we? I never.
Did you see the recent
Hey,
shit though?
I probably like.
Hey, we're just talking about the here. I mean, we're cool. Keep going.
Who's we? No, I think honestly, and
should've
this
said
is gonna
Charlie
sound
Chaplin.
like old.
Yeah.
What'd you say?
I should have said Charlie.
He was the
Chaplin
OG.
instead of
Yeah.
Paul Adolf.
Most of our peers are hip hop fellas, and they're probably gonna hate me for this, but Kanye.
Hey,
3 songs.
Hey, he had one good album, the first one.
2, 3
the college,
songs.
the college
you can both
dropout.
shut the fuck up, bro. Are you serious?
Really?
You like him?
Late registration, college dropout.
College dropout was the only one that I checked.
out this
My Beautiful
Will
Dark Twisted
Wonder Away.
Fantasy. Are you kidding me? Even Life of Pablo had a few hits on it. Shut up. Yeezus was great too.
But
Blood on the Leaves.
Was Donda good?
Donda was not good.
Is that the fucking? Oh, Donda.
You know that one.
Yeah, fucking Richie Sambora. Richie Sambora.
It's not Bon Jovi. Fuck.
Yeah.
Come on.
Richie Fallon. That's what I meant
Donda
to say.
Jody. Yeah.
Hey, listen. Let's get out of here, eh?
All right.
Yo, it's been almost 4 years on the podcast. This is the first time I want to say this, and I've been looking forward to this.
Now you did say you're attracted to feet. So is this going deeper than that?
No. In fact, what are you gonna do with this?
I kept it over here. I didn't want you to drool all over
This
it.
is the first time I want to say this, and I'm so excited. Trevor, Trey, give us your dates.
Oh yeah.
See what I did there?
Come on now. So this weekend. Well, when's this come out?
Monday.
This will be out on Monday.
Okay, so this comes out on Monday.
He's so, I'm off.
Thursday.
can tell you the dates if you really want me to.
Thursday, I'm in San Diego at the Madhouse Comedy Club
Nice.
on November 4th. November 5th, I'm in LA at the Greenhouse. And then November 6th, I'm in Santa Barbara at UC Santa Barbara. November 18th, I'm right here with
Nice.
Trevor Wallace. And then TréLamb.com for all the other dates.
The podcast?
What about the pod?
Deadbeat Son. every Tuesday, YouTube, Spotify, working on Apple. And then, check out the Instagram, Tré Lamb for clips. And that's what I got for
So
you.
the other side of the Beehive on Mondays.
Yeah.
You got Trey on Tuesdays.
Come on now. It's a good week.
Listen, mate, Tré Lamb, like I said before, became one of the Beehive's favorite.
Yeah.
And,
Thank you guys, yeah.
and a snap
We're
of a
honored to have you
finger.
here.
Thank you so
it's-
much for coming, man. Hopefully, when you get big, you don't forget the small guys. And by that,
How
I mean
could I
Justin.
forget this face, bro? It's burned in my
Look at
fucking
this, man.
nightmares,
Okay.
dude. Yeah.
You can catch me at Angel Cervera on Instagram, Angel Cervera on Facebook, and I'm also doing No Hablo Dre Español with the one and only Dre Rocca. We're trying to give
The number one chief.
the number one chief, and we're trying to give a $50 gift card. All you got to do is wait for the right post and tell us where you're listening to us from, and you might just win $50 gift card. And Christmas is coming. You might need this. Gas prices are insane. You might need this. Trey, you might need this because you're going out of town. You're
sir.
Are you driving?
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
Get good gas mileage in your ride.
Yeah, oh yeah. A little Corolla.
Oh, yeah.
Not too shabby. And I weigh like 50 pounds, so it's
that's true.
not much.
Anyway.
You can find me on the ground. That's Lord_Longballs with a Z.
Yo, Brian had a thing for you to see because you can actually buy land like a foot.
Yes,
by
and
a foot.
because of my heritage, because I'm enough English, I could actually be a real lord. I just have to go buy
yeah.
it. Yeah,
Right.
so
Yeah, you can.
yeah, I'm looking into that.
Nice.
I'm looking into it so
Definitely
I can
worth
be,
your money.
and I'll get the badge and the little fucking hat or whatever I
you
got.
do have
to,
the badge.
So, yeah. All right.
Is that it?
Yeah, sure.
Trey, thank you so much for coming, man.
Thank you,
This
sir.
is your
Yeah.
first, but hopefully not your last.
let's
We'd
do
love
this
to have you. Hopefully you have fun. We had a blast. Until next time, take care of yourselves out there, and we will see you on the other side of the Beehive.
Give it a piece.
Peace out.
Love it.